Presence, exploring profound change in people, organization, and society. Presence, exploring profound change in people, organizations, and society. Peter SENGE, C. Otto SCHARMER, Joseph JAWORSKI, Betty So Flowers. First published in Great Britain by Nicholas Burley, published in 2005. Dedicated to the memory of Francisco J. Varela, 1946-2001. Contents. Introduction. Introduction. It's common to say that trees come from seeds, but how could a tiny seed create a huge tree? Seeds do not contain the resources needed to grow a tree. These must come from the medium or environment within which the tree grows. But the seed does provide something that is crucial, a place where the whole of the tree starts to form, a resource such as water, nutrients that are drawn in. The seed organizes the process that generates growth. In a sense, the seed is a gateway through which the future possibility of the living tree urges. Introduction. Although the four of us come from quite different backgrounds, we do share one thing in common. We have all been part of extraordinary moments of collective awakening and seen the consequent changes in large social system. One of the moments occurred in South Africa in 1990. Peter was in the hill country north of Johannesburg, co-leading a 3-day leadership workshop that had been offered for 15 years, but never in South Africa. His colleagues included Black South African and white South African who were being trained to lead the program on their own in the future. There were 30 people attending. Half were white business executives and half Black community organizers. Many took personal risks to participate in the program. On the last day of the program, the group heard that President F.W. Clerk was going to give a speech, so they took a break and gathered in front of a television set to watch. This turned out to be the famous speech that set into motion the ending of apartheid. In the middle, the clerk began to list all the previously banned Black organizations that were now being unbanned. Annie Luth CB, one of the community leaders, was listening with rapt attention. Her face lit up as the clerk read the name of each organization: the African National Congress, ANC, the Pan-Africanist Conference, and so on. Afterwards, she said that as each organization was mentioned, she saw in her mind's eye the faces of different relatives who had been detained and would now be coming home. After the speech, the group reconvened and completed the program as usual. Later that afternoon, they watched, as was the custom in the program, a video of Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. This had been banned in South Africa, and many of the participants had never seen it before. Finally, the program closed with a checkout that gives each person a chance to say whatever he or she wanted. The first 4 people made lovely comments about how meaningful about how meaningful it had been for them to be there and what they had learned about themselves and about leadership. The 5th person to speak was a tall Afrikaans business executive. This man, like many of his business colleagues, had been reserved and shown little emotion during the program. He now stood and turned to look directly at Anne. I want you to know that I was, quotes, I want you to know that I was raised to think that you were an animal, said. And then he began to cry. Anne just held him in her gaze and nodded. As I watched this, says Peter, I saw a huge knot become untied. I don't know how to describe it except to say it was as if a rope simply became untied and broke apart. I knew intuitively that what had been holding him and so many other prisoners of the past was breaking. They were becoming free, even though Nelson Mandela was still in the Robben Island prison and free elections were still 4 years in the future. For that moment, I never had any doubt that significant and lasting change would occur in South Africa. For many years, we four have shared a common desire to understand better how much moments and the underlying forces for change they signal. For many years, we four have shared a common desire to understand better how such moments and the underlying forces for change they signal come about. We felt that what we had written in the past at best described the words, but left the music largely in the background. Contemporary theories of change seemed paradoxically neither narrow enough nor broad enough. The changes in which we will be called upon to participate in the future will be both deeply personal and inherently systemic. Yet, the deeper dimensions of transformational change represent a largely unexplored territory, both in current management research and in our understanding of leadership in general, as OTTO puts it. This blind spot concerns not the what and how, not what leaders do and how they do it, but who we are and the inner place and source from which we operate, both individually and collectively.